All right, I'm back. So I want to talk about the literacy narrative that's due this week. This is going to be a completion grade. And so, yes, we have a paper due the first week of class. That might sound a little bit intimidating, and that is totally normal. If we were in an in-person class, I would actually have you write most of this paper while we were in class together. And so if that gives you a little bit of an idea of how much time I'm expecting you to put into this, I hope that's helpful. What I want you to do is I want you to think back on how you learn to read, how you learn to write, and what your journey through reading and writing has been like up to this point. And by the way, it's okay if you don't love reading and writing. It's okay if you love reading, but you don't love writing. It's okay if, it's vice versa. Whatever that might be, I would just want you to be honest with me about what has happened up to this point in class. It just helps me get a little bit of context, and it's a good kind of warm up for the other papers that we're going to be writing in class. So this is going to be 2 pages double spaced. And I'm not going to give you a word count for this paper as long as you have 2 pages double spaced, and it should be 12 point font. Don't worry about MLA formatting and that kind of stuff. It's really going to just be about completion, like I said. And so if you have 2 pages double spaced with 12 point font, I'm going to give you full credit. So, learning to read, both of these are assigned for our first reading notes in class, and that's because both of these are literacy narratives. And so, if you want to get a little bit of a sense of what a literacy narrative looks like, these are two great writers who I think would be really good examples for you. Okay, and then what I want you to kind of the main idea of the literacy narrative, though, is to tell me where you've been. So, kind of like, again, thinking of this as a journey, where you've been up to this point. What is your history with reading and writing? And you can answer some of these questions when you're thinking about it. Okay, how old were you when you first started learning to read and write? What challenges did you face? Do you have a really vivid memory about learning to read or write? I want this to be the first page of your literacy narrative, okay? And then your second page should be where I'm going. So this should be looking to the future. Where do you think you might need the skills related to reading and writing? And that could even be maybe you're not going to actually be doing a lot of writing in, your future work. It could even just be stuff like I need the skills of critical thinking. I need to be able to verbalize my ideas in meetings, even if it's not through writing and things like that. Okay. So we can think kind of big picture in terms of reading and writing. It doesn't have to be like literally typing up essays, right? It can also be like having a conversation with someone or having to do a presentation and things like that. Um, okay, and so one of the things that I would encourage you to do with this is instead of just going through and kind of answering these prompts question by question, is to remember that this is technically a narrative. And what that means is you're trying to tell a story. So if you could start by telling a story of something that's happened in your past that shows your experiences with reading, and then think a little bit about how you envision your future. Okay, so you're maybe telling us a literal story of something that happened to you in your past, and then maybe going a little more hypothetical when you're thinking about what could happen in the future, right? 1 page for each, double spaced. And I think that's everything. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'm really looking forward to reading these.